Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Miracle Center for Spiritual Living Sunday morning service. I want to welcome everyone there in the sanctuary. I can't see you now, but maybe I can hear you later and see you later. And welcome everyone on Zoom from all over. We welcome you and on the phone. So thanks for being here with us. Today is December 18th, 2022. And just want to mention that Miracle Center is located in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. So just a reminder, our monthly theme or our yearly theme is Living Everyday Wonder. And our monthly theme is community. So with that, or I'll introduce myself too, for those of you who may not know me, my name is Lynette Horn and I'll be your practitioner for today. So right now I just invite you to join me as I say the invocation for this morning's service. So just take a few deep breaths and center to that quiet, peaceful place. That God place, the place of peace, the place of love. And so, Divine Spirit, beloved God, the one source, the first cause, the all in all, the all that is. This is our God. And we know that this God is everywhere present. We know that this God is within each of us. And we know that we are unified with this God. As we turn to God, God is always with us. And so in this oneness, in this wholeness, I just speak my word that all is well. All good things are in effect and everywhere present, giving thanks for this coming together in mind, heart, body, and soul, this one unity in God. And so I just bless this morning's service. I bless all that is unfolding right here and right now. I just bless it all as it unfolds in the flow of perfection, ease, and grace. And I just bless each and every one here, and with our open minds and open hearts, that we receive this message and we can use this message in our lives for more love and more peace to open up and unfold for the good of all. And so with a grateful heart, I release this prayer and I let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Okay, well, then welcome, welcome, welcome. So today's topic, I'm turning to my program now. How do we begin to work together so that we can create a larger container that demonstrates a world that works for everyone? This begins at the individual level, but it can also be expressed at the collective level by the way we choose to be in community together. With a voice comes song. With an instrument comes music. Yet it takes an orchestra to create a symphony. If you were an instrument creating music, what instrument would you be? What song would you sing? Very interesting. We'll have to think on that. If you were an instrument creating music, what instrument would you be? And what song would you sing? Lovely. And together we are a symphony. And let it be Ode to Joy. So the Science of Mind point of view. Science of Mind seeks to recognize wholeness through all things. As such, the aim is not to deny what is before us, but to seek to understand so that a greater idea can be revealed. Illusions of separation, conflict, and disagreements direct us toward areas in need of attention, exploration, and illumination. In this way, greater ideas can be born as we collectively spiral upward toward a new future. In our affirmation, I am one with the circle of life. And we can say this throughout the day. I am one with the circle of life. Beautiful. Well, now I think the program says we have a song. And this song on YouTube, One Tribe music video by the Black Eyed Peas. That song has a beautiful message all through it, every single thing. So glad to have that brought to our attention. So right now, it's time to introduce our Reverend Teresa Slusser, and she's joining us by Zoom, I think, in Georgia or Florida. She gets around. But anyway, she's here with us today. So Reverend Teresa, take it away.
Thank you, Lynette. Thank you for that blessing. And I am in Georgia. You know, I'm always delighted to be able to share our teachings, always again and again. And I actually love the prep work that goes into planning a Sunday lesson. This is a time where I feel like I can surrender to spirit and open myself up and to really listen with my heart about what I think and what I feel about our teachings, Science of Mind. But before I begin, I want to congratulate the Browns for winning last night's game against Baltimore. Woo woo, yeah. But I also have to say, go Bengals. I threw that in for Robert. And before I continue with the lesson, I want to know, are you ready for Christmas? Yeah, I know it's 7 days away, right? and that this is the time of year where the days get shorter and the nights longer. It's a time of the year where we need all the light we can get, right? So I'm going to ask you to lighten up for a minute and share with you a few jokes. These are Christmas jokes. They're kind of corny, but they are cute. Where do you find reindeer? Well, it depends on where you leave them. And why are Christmas trees so fond of the past? Because the presents beneath them. And what do you say to Santa when he's taking attendance at school? Present. Present. And so I ask you all to be present right here and right now, be in full attendance. And know that it was our founder, Ernest Holmes, who says that each of us has something to give. Let each see that he gives of his best. And if we are bringing our gifts to the altar of love, nothing less than the best will be acceptable. And just like the song One Tribe says, we are one people. One tribe, one time, one planet, one race, one love, connecting, uniting, and we do this in community. We've been talking about community. And what do we do in community? We bring our gifts into community. We bring who we are. Community is the invisible membrane. It's like a casing, a peel that we all live inside of. And you know what? You could never, ever be alone in a community when you come out to play. When we come out to play, we engage and connect with one another. We do this at Sunday services. We do this in classes where we teach Science of Mind principle, and we do this in workshops. And if you went to Jackie Lawson's card making workshop, you know what I mean. You were not there not only learning about card making, but you were also developing new skills, trying out ideas, and having fun with each other. So it's in play and even work that we find our playmates, our soulmates, and our kinship. This is where we play out our lives on a larger scale, both consciously and sometimes unconsciously. Community, coming together in unity. Now, typically our larger societal structures begin with family. We don't come into this world alone. We're born into a family where maybe it could be blood relatives or not, but there's bonds that form with those who take care of us. They become our family. We stay connected to our family as we venture out into the cultural norms of our country. And yet it is your individual choices that not only influence your own experiences, but your character also impacts community. And all the subtext, associations, suggestions, hidden agendas, and ideas within the community, it affects, sways, and impacts the whole community at large. And therefore, community also impacts you. Just like a collective of musical instruments, we learn to create harmony and beautiful melodies together, but only when we are tuned into one another. Otherwise, we create discord. And we've got plenty of that in our world. But it is in community where we learn about ourselves and about each other, and where we collectively and universally unfold what it is that we are creating. It is in community where we gather and form bonds. It is here that we have the opportunity to stop being alone or even feel lonely. It is where we can learn about life, mirrored back to us through the eyes of others. We can translate all that came before us by consciously changing our thinking. In other words, we awaken to a knowingness that we are the co-creators of this life with the great creator who creates all that is. Together, we are creating the outpicturing of our mind. And when we come into realization that through our spheres of influence, our communities of concern that we join in with, we intersect with the greater whole each and every day. Now, this truly is the point of power, realization. In fact, realization is the key. This is why the third step of a spiritual mind treatment, the type of prayer that we use, it's why we call it realization. The first step is knowing that there's one. It's realizing that there's one divine mind, the creator, God, many of us call God. And in the second step of treatment, we align ourselves with God. We know that there's only one God acting through us and as us, for there is not a spot where God is not. We are the arms and legs of God. So it is in the third step of treatment where we realize, we are consciously aware that we have the power to make active decisions about how we wish to be in community, how we want to show up, and where we are going as a community at large. You may not know this, but you may be a bit unconscious that you are a gift to others. And yet, you can realize and see the gift that you are when others recognize you and honor you and affirm just how valuable you are. Because it is reflected back to you. Your beauty is reflected back to you when you can look at the beauty that they too are. This is why we practice kindness and non-judgment, so that the real you can have the courage to show up, being genuine and real. It is in being genuine that gives others the courage to be who they are, to be the dynamic, radiant being they came into this world to be. And you can't do it alone. We need each other's lights to see the radiance, the beauty, the love of who we are, the reflection of the one reflected to us as the many in the eyes of another's soul. We need the collective to create a symphony. There is no one individual like you. You are unique and different and distinct. And yet we all share the common bond, the one, individualized as you. So in community, we learn about who we are and about who they are, and we actively welcome those we previously may have been unaware of by broadening our mind and opening our hearts in the realization that each instrument, each person has a piece to play. We embrace the one by embracing the many. This is how our diverse world becomes a living gift to us all. So I say, let us celebrate December in a full awareness of our unique gifts, while seeing the gifts of those around us as we enter into a bigger idea of community. It was Ernest Holmes, our founder, our teacher of these principles. He said, great causes succeed when there is a giving of humanity to humanity. When heart speaks to heart, a divine conversation has taken place, a divine discourse. However, there's a catch. There's always a catch. Always. Isn't there? So the caveat is that the circle of giving can never be complete unless there is the willingness to receive. So I believe we must open our hearts to not only giving, but to receiving. As within, so without. Just as the individual craves belonging, it is equally important that the community be welcoming to individuals. Community is the result or demonstration of the interplay between individuals. Much like the dance of the yin-yang symbol, where the circle reflects the whole of the experience. It is the yin-yang, the cause and the effect, that marks the demonstration. This comes through invitation to be in intimate conversation, using our best communication skills to welcome and explore so we can midwife the birth of a bigger idea. Great causes takes a tremendous symphony. It's easy to get caught in our individual experience, to become self-absorbed, egotistical, even narcissistic. Yes, we must realize that each one of us is an instrument that creates a symphony. So where do we experience community? We have so many ways to experience community. In our neighborhoods, and right here in our spiritual center. We also experience community in our social service agencies, our schools, sports, yay Browns, sports clubs, and we must be present, and actively engage with those around us in service to a greater idea. You might ask, well, how do we get this harmonious life within community? We all know that it's what it's like when things work together, things hum. We must be real. We must be genuine. We must let go of our fears, fear of being judged, including self-judgment. Let go of condemnation, including self-condemnation. Let go of oppression, including self-oppression. Whatever it all looks like, I don't know. Because I'm not individualized as you. So I don't know what it looks like to you. I know what it looks like to me. I can do it for me. This means I must practice on a tuned instrument. I tune into the love that I am, the kindness that I express, and the gratitude I feel for my community and for all that we share. I choose to come from a giving heart because I am free to be me. When we collectively work together, we are in harmony. We are fine-tuned to each other. The instruments we are in symphony. The greater whole does not exist without each instrument playing its part, elevating our thoughts away from our individual selves and into a space where we can see the greater whole, create space for the symphony of humanity itself to truly express. It was Ernest Holmes who asked us to give of the self to life. Let us give to each other the presence that we are. Now, we have a reading. It is the words of Leonard Bernstein, who was an American composer, conductor, pianist, music educator. He was an author and a humanitarian. He was also considered to be one of the most important conductors of his time. He was actually the first American conductor to receive international acclaim. He's no longer with us. He left this world in October 14th, 1990. But he was born a long time ago. He was born August 25th, 1918. So in this reading, he is actually discussing Ludwig van Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. After the reading, we will listen to Ode to Joy, which is just a snippet of the final fourth movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. You know how these symphonies, they seem to just go on and on and on. So we're just going to listen to a snippet. But this snippet was completed by Beethoven in 1824. That was a long time ago too. And Ode to Joy is actually an ode written in the summer of 1785 by a German poet, who was also a playwright and a historian by the name of Friedrich Schiller. So German. They were both German born. And Friedrich Schiller was born on a long time ago, November 10, 1759. So not only are these dates a long time ago, we have a long reading. However, I think it speaks volumes of who we are as a human race, where we have been and where perhaps as a collective community, perhaps. Well, I just ask you to be fully present as we listen to the heart of one individual. And as we move into the final movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. So if our reader will come up and share Leonard Bernstein's discussing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. This is from his heart to our heart, and from our reader's heart to our heart.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I have just finished filming and recording the great Ninth Symphony, his final one, with Schiller's famous Ode to Joy, sung by chorus and soloists of the last movement. And I've come out of this experience, curiously enough, thinking about dates of all things, comparative dates, which is a thing I very rarely think about, having conceived an immense dislike for memorizing dates while studying English battles during a Shakespearean course at college. I should call them crazy. When exactly was the 30 years war of 100 years war? And yet suddenly, after conducting this Ninth Symphony, dates began to swarm into my head. Look, I suddenly thought Haydn and George Washington were both born in the same year, 1732, exactly 100 years before Goethe finished his Faust and died. Crazy thoughts like that. Why in heaven's name, I ask myself, if I suddenly bedeviled by the kind of academic thinking? So I delved into a bit of self-analysis, some free associations, and I now know why. The reasons lie deep in my emotional insides, and I'd like to share them with you. My associations led me back to the year of my own birth, 1918, the year of the Great Armistice, which brought the First World War to an end. Now, I had the key. The password was peace, armistice, brotherhood. Ain't gonna study war no more. Peace, brotherhood. We are all children of one Father. Let us embrace one another, all the millions of us, friendship, love, joy. These, of course, are all the key words and phrases from Schiller's poem to which Beethoven attached that glorious music, ranging from the mysterious to the radiance, to the devout, to the ecstatic. And so my madness with dates was not so mad after all. I was not mulling over 1066, the Battle of Hastings, and 1216, the Magna Carta, in 1848 social revolution. Rather, I was grasping at 1000 BC, when King David sang his sublime psalm. He named Ma Tav, Ma, Nain, Shavet, Achim, Gam, Yashad, meaning how good and lovely for men to dwell together as brothers, to dwell together in unity. And grasping at 400 BC, when Aristophanes wrote his inspired anti-war comedy for peace. And 800 BC, when the prophet Isaiah promised us that men will beat their swords into plowshares and the lion will lay down with the lamb. And above all that, supreme date, when the Prince of Peace, almost 2,000 years ago, pronounced the divine doctrine of Christianity, which has since then encompassed the world. And where are we now, 2 millenniums later, when Belfast, for one thing among many, runs the blood and rings with gunfire in the name of that very Prince of Peace? How long, O Lord? The dates springing to mind, and each one is a fierce accusation, a terrible challenge to what we pretentiously call our human race. Take 1824, the year of Beethoven's ninth, with its Shal Ara, message of brotherhood, written 4 decades earlier. And what did we have 4 decades late in 1864? The American Civil War. And 100 years later, in 1924, brown shirts rioting in Munich, strikers being gunned down in Chicago, blacks being lynched in Alabama. And in 1974, 150 years later, was that bloody end in Vietnam. Something we can call peace? Did it bring brotherhood? Yes. The brotherhood of the boat people, of ever increasing thousands of desperate refugees. How much closer are we to David's Almatic dreams of the loveliness of brothers dwelling in unity? One can answer only with the bitterest ironic facts. We have never before in our human history had so many nations and how those nations rage. So many frontiers, passports, boundaries, barriers, walls, so many hypothetical dividing lines on such highly unrealistic maps. David, Isaiah, Aristophanes, Jesus, Schiller, Beethoven, how you must be suffering. For me, for getting carried away, forgive me. I had meant to stick to the subject of dates and of Beethoven, but it is all one. Beethoven has struggled, the struggle for peace, for fulfillment of spirit, for serenity and triumphal joy. He achieved it in his music, not only in his ninth, but in all his symphonies and in his quartets and piano sonatas and trios and concertos. Somehow, it must be possible for us to learn from the music, from his music, by hearing it. No, not hearing it, but listening to it with all our power of attention and concentration. Then perhaps we can grow into something worthy of being called a human race. And so it is, and so I let it be. Amen. Yes.
Thank you. So beautifully read and so beautifully from Leonard Bernstein's Heart to Ours. And now we will listen to a little bit of Ode to Joy and some of the lyrics that Schiller wrote. And I do ask you to really listen. Just don't hear it, really listen with the heart. How do we begin to work together so that we can create a larger container that demonstrates a world that works for everyone? It begins at the individual level, but it can also be expressed at the collective level by the way we choose to be in community together. With a voice comes song, with an instrument comes music. Yet it takes an orchestra to create a symphony. So again, I'll ask you, if you were an instrument creating music, what instrument would you be? And what song would you sing? For together, we are creating a symphony. Let it be an ode to joy. So I will ask you to take a look at this. I invite you to become acquainted with Centers for Spiritual Living Global Vision. Take it to heart, really take it to heart. Because if we can envision what we believe, perhaps we can change the directions that humanity has been taking since the beginning of our time, way back in the BCs. And if enough of us take it to heart, not only will the heart change, the world will change also. So I invite you to get to know our global vision, for Centers for Spiritual Living. It actually holds a key to creating a world that works for everyone. This is why we developed it. And if you don't have a copy, you can access it at any time on the internet by going to csl.org or search on the net for CSL Global Vision. So there's a few bullet points that I believe you may have had printed out to you. And we're just going to mull over just a few of them, just to start planting the seed that we envision all people and all beings and all life as expressions of God. And that we see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connecting with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. And we envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought, a world where each and every person discovers their own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. And we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life, a world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social consciousness in every area of the political, the corporate, the academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging, a world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement and justice. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and growing, and where there is generous and continuous sharing of these resources. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. And we envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all creation. I'm going to go ahead and close my talk with a spiritual mind treatment. And then we'll have, I guess, a collection, some announcements, and our benediction. So please join me in prayer with an open heart. And you may unburden your body by opening up your hands and placing your feet on the floor, just relaxing into your breath. Relaxing into the breath, the circulation of life, the circle of life. Knowing that there is only one divine source, one mind, one spirit, omniscient, all-powerful, and always divine. That this one divine source always operates through me and as me. This source gives me voice. And if this is true for me, it is true for all God's creation. For there is not a spot where God is not. And so I rest in the knowing that God is my divine source and is operating through me and as me and in all, each individual here, each individualized divine essence of the one is always being operated through, in, and around with divinity, where the joy and the love and the beauty resides always. And so I speak my word. I see all people, all beings, and all life as divine expressions of God, living in a world as one global family with respect and honoring the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experiences. I have a part to play, and I am awakened to my part. And I speak my word for all the many divine beings that inhabit this world, for I know that we are all creating harmony, a symphony of joy and togetherness, where there is the freedom of all voices expressed with courage, and the voices heard with courage, and a willingness to participate fully in this thing called life, where there is health and prosperity and wealth for all beings, and where all needs are met. For this I give thanks. I give thanks for the opportunity to speak my word into the law. And so I release my words into the law, knowing it is done now. And together we say, and so it is. And Lynette, I think you'll take it away. But before I go, have a Merry Christmas. Can't hear you, Lynette.
Okay, I just had to unmute. It came on the screen. But thank you, Reverend Teresa, for that. And Merry Christmas to you also. And this whole, your whole talk was so enlightening and so much to think about and take in and process for each and every one of us, I do believe, just so it was a very, very interesting take on this whole subject. And thank you for bringing to us our global vision for Centers for Spiritual Living. So everybody let's give her a big hand. What a good talk. Thank you. So I think there is, I'm looking on the program, there isn't any announcements really to make, just that everyone, I'd like to say too, have a Merry Christmas. And I guess we'll see you all next Sunday on Christmas. If we can, whoever can make it, we'll be here. So with that, I think we'll take up the tithes and offerings. And just thank you for all your givings. And so I think if you just want to join me now as I speak the benediction, and we'll conclude this Sunday morning service. So, oh, Divine Spirit, beloved God, we just give thanks for this wonderful message that has been brought to us graciously and beautifully. We give thanks for our reader and how enthusiastically she read, how beautifully it came across for its expression for us all to receive. So many good messages in today with the music, the words, the prayers. We just give thanks at how abundant and how rich we are. And that we just know that our living will be richer and deeper and more loving and more peaceful as we contemplate and bring our awareness to the beauty and the peace and the love that our Creator is, and we are that also. And so we just bring our gifts. Turn within and ask God, what is the gift that I bring? And just know that we are the gifts. We are the Christmas gifts. And so, with a grateful heart for all that we have received, I just bless each and every one of us as we finish out this year and step into a new year. We can all turn over a new leaf with a new thought and create a world that works for everyone and everything. All is blessed, and we recognize the love in all that exists, in all of God's creations. So I just give thanks for all that is unfolded here today. Give thanks for all that is to come. I bless it all, knowing it is all good, all God, and all great. And I just let it be. And together we say, and so it is.
Amen. Amen.
Well, I think we'll circle up there with the peace song. And this is the conclusion to our Sunday morning service. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lynette. This is Reverend June. Blessings, everyone, and thank you all for this beautiful service today. I just wanted to close with a reminder that for all of us to complete our pledge and your PPP gift for 2022 tithing. Miracle Center has been blessed, and we do have a week after next Sunday to finish off the year as far as getting our appropriate funding into the bank before the close of 2022. And I could not be remiss in reminding you and blessing you and thanking you all for all you have given, and that the 25th is the Sunday, the last Sunday, if you choose to give in this month, this year, that we would love to have your continued support financially. And I bless you all, and I will see you next Sunday. So be blessed. Thank you.